What's up, guys? Gaonan here, and welcome to episode 10 of Drafting to Masters. The last draft didn't go as well as we had hoped, but that's nothing to get down about. As always, if you've missed any of the previous episodes, I've included in the playlist in the top right corner of this video so you can catch up and know where we're at. We're excited to continue the climb through Diamond and make it to Masters, so let's get right into it. Wow, what a first pack. So we've got some really interesting decisions here between Merchant, just always a flexible card, decent body with Aegis, which is nice for putting weapons on, Surgeon Saw, which lifesteal is very strong right now because there are a lot of aggressive strategies in this draft environment, and Dark Return can always bring back a very powerful unit. You've got Dusk Raider, which is a great 2-drop. Berserk is a very powerful keyword in this draft environment. As I said, aggression is very common, and Dusk Raider makes your units more aggressive. At common, we have Corrupted Umbran, probably one of the best commons in the set. Lifesteal is important with those aggressive strategies out there. It's a threat that your opponent always has to answer. And then Welding Torch is a great spellcraft weapon. I think many of the spellcraft weapons are very powerful. So I'd say Dusk Raider is just a little bit underneath the power level of the other cards. I think the other cards can have a bigger impact. And for me, I'm going to take the Merchant here. I always like to take the rare when I've got cards that I think are equal in power level, and Merchant is very strong. I think Saw and Umbran are great, as is Welding Torch. So this is definitely a tough pick, and I wouldn't fault anybody for making a decision for any of the other cards that we talked about. Rusty Grenamotive really improved after the buff. Making it a 2-4 instead of a 1-4 is very relevant. As we talked about before, Welding Torch is a great card. Merchant likes wearing weapons, so that's a reasonable pick here. And Temple Standard is okay too. So for me, I'm going to take the Welding Torch over the Rusty Grenamotive. I think both are reasonable here, but I really like Welding Torch. Wow, Cabal Standard coming through. I think that's probably the best card in the pack. Workshop Tinker is okay. Fiery Fisher is okay. Spikeback is okay. So I think Cabal Standard is just the best card here. I'm going to take the Cabal Standard here. I think the power level of it is very high. Maybe we end up Feln. Maybe we end up Skycrag. Maybe we end up somewhere else. We don't know yet. Quota I don't think is a card we're really interested in. Longhorn Treasure is okay, but we don't have anything to make it work right now. Wormstone would put us into a 4th color, whereas Scavenging Spikeback is just solid for us. Same thing about Guard Dog, so I'm just going to take Spikeback here. Wow, Rusty Grenamotive coming through. I'm definitely going to take that here. Seems like Skycrag might be open here, so pretty excited about that. I say that, and then a Lethrai Blade Whirl comes through. That's a pretty good 5-drop for us. We really want to be in either of these colors at the moment, so I think it's okay to take Blade Whirl. It's just so much better than Shamanic Blast, so I'm going to take the Blade Whirl here. Okay, this might be a sign that Justice is just wide open. It seems a little odd, but I think I am going to take Master at Arms here over Flamefang Charmer. Just the power level of Master at Arms is so much higher than this card, so I think it's worth taking here. Ruination Sledge is a great pickup for us. There's also Ijin's Choice, so if we did end up Arcano, this would be pretty good, but this is good even if we end up in Skycrag. Anything fire-based, we're happy with Ruination Sledge, so we'll take that. Okay, and then we've got all Justice cards. Pretty crazy. We also have the Cliffside Caretaker, which isn't terrible, but I think these Justice cards are worth looking at over, not being so attached to this Merchant. We saw the late Master at Arms. We're seeing late Guard Dog, late Resolute Paladin, which are both reasonable here. And then we've got Lingering Influence as well. For me, I think it's just Guard Dog here. Alright, so next we've got First Frost Shaman or Torrential Downpour. Don't think either is great for us, but we'll take the first Frost Shaman. Spell Sword probably doesn't make the deck, but we'll take it, and Eulogist is fine. Okay, so looking at what we got in pack 1, I don't think we know a whole lot about where we are. We did get this Master at Arms late and this Guard Dog late. Spire Spell Sword, we're really not going to play this though, so we've only got 2 Justice cards, 2 Primal cards, because I don't think we really want to play First Frost, and then 2 Shadow cards. So I think we're Fire based, and then we don't really know what our second color is. And looking at this pack, Stone Scar Sneak is by far the most powerful card. The ability on that is a great power sink, just allows you to use that extra power in the late game and just keep bashing in with a guy to finish off the game. So I think I really like this card over everything else here. You know, Argenport Soldier is reasonable, Strength of Many is reasonable, Jotun Cyclops is very good, but I think Stone Scar Sneak is by far the best card. So right after we get that Stone Scar Sneak, it's followed up with the Direwood Prowler. That's pretty fantastic for us. Hip Shot is okay. Cabal Slasher is a 2-drop. Nothing that we're super excited about though, so I think Direwood Prowler is a great pickup here. Okay, so it seems like this Stone Scar deck is really coming together because now we've got Unpredictable Outlaw, we've got Extinguish, we've got Ravenous Thornbeast, Disassembler. All those cards are very reasonable. There is Rooftop Vigilante also, which is very powerful. Maybe we aren't in fire at all, but I feel like we are. The shadow coming through in this second pack is very strong, so I definitely feel like we are in shadow at the moment. So if we were to take Rooftop Vigilante here, what would we be ditching? We would be ditching Rusty Grenamotive, potentially Ruination Sledge, and Welding Torch as well. I feel like those are all pretty powerful cards. What are we gaining by taking Rooftop Vigilante? We're gaining Master at Arms, we're gaining Guard Dog. I feel like the weapons are a little bit more powerful than just simply gaining Master at Arms and Guard Dog. So I think I'd rather take the Extinguish over Rooftop Vigilante. I do think the power level of Rooftop Vigilante is higher, but I think Extinguish is very reasonable as far as removal goes. So I think I'll take it here over the Rooftop Vigilante. Okay, so here we've got some choices. We could take Gun Down, we could take Seek Power for added consistency, we could take Dark Wisp as a 2-drop. And here I think I will take just the added fixing of Seek Power here. Gun Down is pretty good removal, but I think having some added consistency and flexibility is still good, so I think it's worth taking the Seek Power here. We have choices between Oni Gunright, Xenon Destroyer, Powder Keg Rider. There is an Argenport banner as well, but we can't splash Master at Arms and we're not splashing Guard Dog. Kinda makes me wish we had the Rooftop Vigilante, but I'm still not upset that we have the Extinguish. So for me, I think Xenon Destroyer is the best unit on its own, so I'm just going to take it here. Slumbering Stone gives us something to sacrifice early in the game. Even works with Stone Scar Sneak, so not the worst thing in the world. Other option is Umbran Coaxer, but I think Slumbering Stone is much more powerful than Coaxer here. So now our choice is between Dark Wisp and Unpredictable Outlaw. If we had a Ravenous Thornbeast, I would think about the Dark Wisp more, but Unpredictable Outlaw makes sense. We've got Ruination Sledge, we've got Welding Torch, so I think it's worthwhile to pick up this card that has some good weapon synergies. A second Slumbering Stone is great for us. I think it's better than the Iceberg Warchief, so we'll take the second Slumbering Stone here. Could potentially splash for entrapment, so we'll take it over these other cards. Don't think we'll play any of these. Flashy Duelist. Ooh, actually, Recycler is very good. Um, the fact that it makes a weapon with Overwhelm for us, very good. So even though it is a 3-drop instead of a 2-drop, I'll take Recycler here. And Yeti Spy last pick. So let's get some of these cards that we know we're not going to play out of here and get us a little more focused. So here I think Gundown is easily the strongest card. It's just pretty decent removal for us. Knife Jack is pretty unimpressive, as is Audacious Bandit at 4, so we'll take Gundown. So Slay would totally be splashable for us, given that we have the Seek power. It's a better splash than this Entrapment for sure. Could also think about Renegade Valkyrie as a splash card. We would love to have like all 3 of these cards here because the cards in our colors are pretty unimpressive. Devour could be good in our deck for, sacrificing Slumbering Stone or something like that, but we're just going to take the power level of Slay and potentially splash for it here. Combust, however, is on plan, makes sense to, sacrifice Slumbering Stone using Combust, so I like taking Combust here. Stinks because once again we would love to have this banner to help with this Slay splash, but Combust is great for us too. My goodness, another Slay? Is there any way that we're splashing 2 Slays? I don't think we're splashing for Entrapment anymore. Other options would be Stone Scar Banner, Xenon Destroyer, Umbran Thirster. So we'll take this Slay here, hoping that we find at least one Rakano or Argenport banner to help us splash these 2 Slays. Kind of stinks that we're missing out on Xenon Destroyer and Stone Scar Banner, but I think the power level of Slay is worth it. Amethyst Waystone I think is fine here. We do have a couple of Grenadin so far. That could play well with Powder Keg Rider, so maybe it's just better to take Powder Keg Rider here. Ravenous Thornbeast is great with our deck for the Slumbering Stone interaction, so we'll take it over Runecrawler Yeti. Another unpredictable outlaw seems reasonable. We could also take Triggerman, but... So we have 2 Gunslingers at the moment. Triggerman could be okay, but I think it's fine to just take another unpredictable outlaw here, as it works really well with our weapons. So here we could take Unseen Agent. At the 5-drop slot, I don't know if we're very excited by Umbran Coaxer. I think either of these is reasonable. Maybe we play Umbran Coaxer over Powder Keg Rider since we've only got a couple of Grenadins, so I think this gives us some more options and versatility. Unseen Agent could be good as well, but I think I'm more interested in the Umbran Coaxer in this spot. Then a whole bunch of primal cards coming through. Sorrow Shroud probably won't play it. Recogulator probably won't play it, and Temper probably won't play it. First Flame. Don't think we'll ever get to play this, so no point in picking it here, sadly. Especially when we've got good cards like Welding Torch and Blade Whirl here. Kind of stinks that we didn't get more fixing for these Slays, but I think Welding Torch is a totally reasonable pickup here. Gives us more weapon synergies and can be very aggressive, so I'll pick Welding Torch. Grenarender is a decent 2-drop. Territorial Elf has a lot of synergy with Stone Scar Sneak. Hard choice here, honestly. I'm going to take the more versatile Grenarender here. I think Flame Belcher is better than Coronal Umbran, so we'll take that. And if you do get to infiltrate this, it's kind of scary if you get to late game. Ooh, Shugo Standard is fantastic for us. Easy pickup here. a second Rusty Grenamotive. I think we really like that, so we'll take that here over the other cards. Final Shot. I think that's better than everything else in this pack, so we'll take it. Fisher is another removal. We may or may not play it. May not even need these Slays, honestly. We'll take the rare since we're not playing anything else in this pack. Consuming Flames, don't think we'll play it, but it's a possibility. Stinging Wind, Transmogrifier, and Shiver. So what happens if you just cut these two Slays? You're already at 17 power and there's your deck. 18 power with Seek Power. So without the Slays, we really just need to make a couple cuts. I don't know that we need the Slays, but they do add a lot of power to the deck, you know, of ways of just dealing with units that we might not otherwise be able to deal with. Like maybe you just play one Slay. I don't think we need the Sorrow Shroud. I think our attachments are strong enough without it, so Sorrow Shroud can go. How many Grenadin do we have? So 7 including Powder Keg Rider. I feel like that's reason enough to play Powder Keg Rider. Coaxer seems pretty good too though. Maybe we don't need Recogulator just because it's so weak. I really like the Rusty Grenamotives because they help us get to higher levels of power. I think 18 power for this deck is fine. You know, we've got 2 standards that want to always be spells. We've got the Seek Power, so it seems reasonable here. So the deck builder is suggesting 1 less power, but I don't know if it, you know, how it accounts for these standards, because I always want them to be tricks, basically. But if that's the case, I think we could play Recogulator and we wouldn't be that upset about it. Other option is Consuming Flames. We don't mind sacrificing some of these things, so I think it's okay to use the Combust, use the Consuming Flames, and then just play 16 power, 17 with the Seek Power, and then 2 standards. Alright, so I think this is the deck. Just want to close this drafting and deck building portion by saying thanks for joining me for this portion of the episode. I'm excited to see how this deck does, and we'll talk about how I think it'll do at the start of the next video. So I hope you'll join me there.